Hey, everybody. I hope this live stream or video finds you doing well. As you can probably guess by the description and or the title, I am going to be talking about the election results of the 2024. That's going to be happening on November 5th. For right now, while I'm doing this live stream and video, it's going to be tomorrow. If you're listening to it after the tonight or tomorrow, well, but I have been listening to the news. I'm not a big fan of the news, but I've been listening to it, and some of it around the world. I do want to share one little thing here. This is coming from Newsweek, very reputable reporting. I've never seen anything really bad, I don't think. It says the election 2024 live updates. Harris up by single point over Trump in the latest polls. And part of the article goes and saying polling across the 7 swing states also show a tight race between Harris ahead in Nevada, Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin, while Trump was up in Arizona and North Carolina. Many of these states had less than 2 points between them. Pennsylvania, where both Trump and Harris are campaigning, and with 1 day left until election day, is too close to call. So if you read the whole article, it basically states it's just too close to call for right now. I have listened to some of the news agencies. Some of them believe that Trump will win. Some of them believe that Harris will win. And I will be honest with you. I listened to a couple of news agencies out in Europe, and they're getting ready for a Trump presidency. They are absolutely getting ready for that. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know who's going to win, but I'm going to give you what is my perspective on this. I will never believe at this moment in time in history unless somebody brings me reasonable proof instead of an accusation, but very reasonable proof that yes, the elections was rigged. However, I'm very hard pressed to believe that, and here's why. You've got these people who we elect to count the vote. If my memory calls me right, they're called recorders. And then it goes up from there, and there's people who's involved in the election. Now, I don't believe that these group of people in each and every state are letting someone else control them because it's totally illegal. And here's the thing. I don't care if you're talking about the Democratic Party or if you're talking about the Republican Party. Let me be about straightforward as I know how to be. And in both party, and including the Libertarian and the Independents, there is extremely honest people that if they see something that's going on that's illegal, they're going to chime in. There is extremely honest people on the Democrat side and on the Republican side that if something doesn't smell right, they're going to report it, and they're going to report it to the proper people. These people aren't idiots. So that's the first thing. I just don't believe that the elections are rigged because there are still honest people in these United States. Number two, you would have to be crazier than crazy to try and rig an election and get caught, because that's going to spend time in prison for that. Nobody has brought reasonable proof showing me that any election has been rigged. So, if the truth be known, I don't know who's going to win. Here's my thoughts. Yes, because I want a better economy. Yes, I'd like there to be an improvement in America on the moral issues. I would like to see President Trump win. However, I have emotionally prepared myself and reminded myself that no matter who is president, our Heavenly Father is still on his throne. And that you can take all the way straight to the bank. Sorry about this. So, the best thing that both Democrats and Republicans can do is no matter who wins the election, Harris and Trump are both wrong on certain issues. I'm not going to go through outlining the issues. It just take too long. But they're both correct on some issues and wrong on the others. The best thing to do, no matter who wins, is to ask God to guide them to his righteousness and with his righteousness and help them see the light of how God designed things to be. I don't care if we're talking about Harris or if we're talking about Trump. They both need our prayers, and that's absolute. Now, I have also been reading about how that the government is afraid of an uprising, and absolutely with good reason. They would be very unwise, unintelligent people if they wasn't. But when this uprising happens, and I don't care if I'm talking about Democrats or if I'm talking about Republicans, it's wrong. Let me tell you, God himself decides who goes into office and who doesn't. God is the one who lifts up kings and brings them down. So the best thing we can do is just, hey, whatever happens, it's God's will. It's just the way it is. And it is what it is. Getting out in the middle of the street, being destructive, screaming and yelling and crying is not going to change anything. It will make things very much worse. In fact, probably here in the state of Colorado, they're expecting that we're going to get a bad storm on Election Day. I had the local news report say, it's Wednesday that we're probably looking at it. I don't know which day it is. I'm praying that it doesn't happen before I can get to a store just almost 3 blocks away, get some milk, get some needed little food. That'd be nice to have, and then do what it is I do. I will not be moving from my apartment. Now, when it comes to Saturday, I go to synagogue every Saturday that I can. My plans, unless I am sick, is to be attending synagogue. But if anybody thinks that I'm just going to just be out in public, nah, I'm not risking myself underneath that. I don't know, what may happen. I just don't go near that bunch of stuff. If people want to riot, I mean, I can't personally stop them. I would very much ill advise that. I would not advise them to riot. I advise everybody to stay home and pray. Praying is going to be doing a lot better than praying is a lot better than rioting. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't care who talks about the elections being rigged. I don't believe it. Much nonsense. And for both sides, if you're actually trying to claim that you're a follower of God, you won't be out rioting. Um, I know a lot of people ain't going to like that, but as far as for me, like I said, I don't care who's president. God's the one who's going to have to determine that. Um, and no matter who the president is, they will be in my prayers. And in fact, I'll pray for every president, even when Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes president. And you can count on that. So let me give you just one more little thing to think about. I personally, like I said, I'd like to see President Trump win. But at the same time, I'm emotionally preparing for that it's going to be Kamala Harris that's going to win the race. So I'm like, yeah, she'll probably win the race. Well, that's the way it goes. So if you're actually wanting Kamala Harris to win, you may well want to expect that former President Trump might win the race. That way, no matter who wins the race, you're not disappointed. I've seen a financial news today, which they was trying to determine the outcome of the election. And it's like, I hate to tell you guys this, but I'm just going to be point blank here. Technology doesn't give a crap who in the heck is president. AI is going to be on the rise. And I have one consultant. Oh, well, yeah, the information technology is strong, but it won't tell me who's doing really good. It's either neutral or bull or bear. No, bull. It's either neutral or bullish. I decided that, hey, I'm buying a good certain amount of stock in the information technology to one corporation. And this morning, voila da, there they was. Hey, they went from being neutral to being very bullish. And I'm like, well, isn't that just a sign of wonders? But anyhow, the technology doesn't care who is president. Let me tell you what technology is going to do. AI does not hate people. It has no emotions about people. AI is going to be the way with us as was the highway construction workers, the way with I'm not molehills, but anthills. They look at an anthill, knock it down, start paving right over it. And it wasn't because that the workers hated ants, it's just they were in the way. I'm sorry to tell you guys this, but AI is absolutely going to be the same way. It's going to destroy the middle class. Not because AI hates the middle class, it's just because it's going to do what it's programmed to do. And that is take over the middle class so that companies can have a bigger profit. And I don't care who's president, that's going to happen. And I don't care who's president. It doesn't matter. Had one lady said, well, how do you think people are going to work? Well, let me explain it to you this way. There's going to be two classes of people, poor or rich. And those people who are in the middle class, if they don't know how to start investing and learning how to invest and make good on their investments, believe me, when the time rolls around, they're going to wish they would have. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and go down another little path here real quick. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, I'm going down a little path here, and I'm going to try and change a few things. Let me give you the most important thing that you can do for a child. But before I do, I want you guys to know that my great grandparents, all of our great grandparents made a mistake. And that's okay. We're human. We should give each other grace to make mistakes. My parents, all of our parents, everybody in my generation's parents made a mistake, and that's okay. We should give each other grace to make mistakes. Had I had children and I would have raised them up to adulthood, I will confess to you, I would have absolutely 110% made the same mistake. I absolutely would have done it. And I absolutely would have been wrong doing it. But you know what? That's okay. We should forgive ourselves for making a mistake. And we got to understand the times of which we lived back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 2000s. I would say that the information age didn't really get off till about the late 2010s. There really wasn't a whole lot of technology. It's been building up ever since the 80s. And I would say now, entering upon the 2020s, that we are now in the information superhighway. So we know how to do things. Back in the old days, back in the 80s, 90s, even the 2000s, you wanted to do investing, you'd have been calling up a broker every so often and, making investments, buying, selling. And a lot of people really just did not have the luxury of sitting in front of a computer and doing it. Now I have the luxury of sitting in front of a computer, selling and buying stock. And I did. I sold, I sold sold two stocks, two brand of stocks. One I had 12 shares in, the other I had 7. I went ahead and sold them. I added from a thousand from a bank account to buy one particular stock. So now I invested in 2, and I have put my eggs in kind of one basket a little bit. The reason being is because I feel real confident about the company that I'm investing in. These guys are good. This is going to go. This is going to hit. Yeah, they costed about over $100, but yeah, I could see them in about 2 years. I could see their stock being worth maybe $2,000 to $2,000. I don't think it would be unreasonable, especially given the economy, and especially considering that that AI is here to stay. When you consider that companies are going to want to use AI to replace workers, then yeah, this company is going to go off the charts. I mean, I think it'll be almost as big as Bitcom, and Bitcom stock is worth a lot. I could never buy a stock from them. It's just beyond me. But I did buy into stock. I'm expecting it to do extremely well. I mean, extremely well. I could see 800% return. I don't know when that'll happen, but I'm expecting that. Yeah, that is definitely going to happen in the next several years. I could see even a bigger return than that. So, what I'm saying is now let's talk about the mistake. Parents raise their children to be about 18 years old, then, well, leave home, get out of the house, go live your life, take good care of yourself. And this has all been happening because of Social Security Administration and because of Medicare. And there's other reasons that the parents, well, I just want. Okay, I mean, you want. All parents in the, like I said, in the time frames have made this mistake, and it is a legitimate mistake. Let me tell you something, but there comes a time and place where we got to say, hey, yeah, I made a mistake. We got to correct this. How do we go about correcting it? Parents, if you have a baby, or if you now have a baby, what you need to do is get a custodial account. What that is your baby will have an investment account, and you will be the one who controls it till they become of age to control it themselves. Now, if you took $2,000 right now, you could probably within 18 years, if you really do this right, you could easily have, I don't see any reason why you couldn't have the kid at least $2 million when they're 18 years old. I think it'd be far more than that. And I think you should have that custodial account. And what I also think is you need to get up an account for yourself and start doing investing. And what you do in your account, you do into the baby's account. If your children are 4, 5, 6, it's never too late to start. Because I'm telling you, in about 10 years, and I'm expecting it within 10 years, there is going to be no middle class. Either you're going to be dirt poor or you're going to be filthy rich. You're going to either be the tail behind or you're going to be the head. And there's just no two way of saying it. And investments are the best way to do this. You got to be smart about it. I'll tell you who I use. Chercom and Motley Fool is two of them that I use. And then I keep listening to the business news and seeing what's going on out in the world and make decisions from there. So you got to be smart about your investment. And I am doing a very aggressive portfolio. I went ahead and had Fidelity Investments to do, what they thought. And they said, yeah, this is extremely aggressive. It's like, yep, that's the way I like it. Go big or go home. Well, I'm already home, but So if people don't start with investing to be able to start living off that investment income, I'm going to tell you guys are going to be really hurting. I'm sorry to say it, but you're going to be hurting really, really bad. This is not going to be anything good. And I'll tell you what, I went to a concert, great concerts, but those are going to be a thing of the past also. Because of the middle class, there's not going to be any middle class. And I am largely expecting that there'll be a whole lot more, and I literally mean way more poor people than there is rich. And AI is just going to be doing everything that the working people are doing. And I'm telling you guys, this is coming around. It's going to happen. It's not when, it's how soon. My prediction is within 10 years. If it takes longer than that, I am going to be very surprised. Not in shock, but definitely very surprised. So, I'm hoping I give you guys a lot to think about. Pray for the election results. Pray for whoever wins the presidency. And get smart. Start to investing. I love you all. God bless.